The health and wellness industry has become even less about health and more about followers, funnels, and fake authority. Experts profit more from dependence than results. The more confused you are, the more you spend, and you try to spend your way out of a problem. That's not health, that's manipulation. Real health is built, it's not bought. We tell all of our clients this when they're coming in. Just because you've now paid the entry point, that doesn't mean that you get to now get onto a chariot and take the ride to great health. No. You and I are going to go hand in hand and we're going to walk our way there. Hey, what's up, champions? Welcome back to the Own It Show. I'm your host, Justin Roethlingshoefer. And if it's your first time here, I'm so glad that you found us. And I'm even more excited that you found us today, because today is one of those episodes that I just feel is going to be game changing for a lot of people. Not because of anything specific, but just because this message is something that just moved me this morning during my workout. And it's something that I got the inspiration for last night. I was laying in bed and I was scrolling Instagram, as I tell everybody not to do. And as I was laying there, I ended up seeing this post by an individual that said they had finally reached an agreement, and it was Grant Cardone and Gary Brecka. And if you don't know the history and the backgrounds, there was apparently a real rough breakup. And then between the two of them, there was a $100 million lawsuit that was being put out for it. And it comes all up to this moment yesterday where they're laughing, they're joking, they're doing a new campaign talking all about 10x health and striking up some other deals, and now they're moving forward amicably, only to look under the hood and see that it was all a marketing scheme. It was all a marketing ploy for clicks, going on all the big podcasts talking about this big $100 million lawsuit to get attention, to get eyes, to get fresh eyes, and now to come around it this way. And it left me angry. It left me frustrated, and it left me a little bit sad, if I'm being completely honest. And the reason it left me sad was it left me with the conclusion that the health industry actually doesn't want you to be healthy, because there's so many layers of personal agenda, deception, confusion that exists in this health and wellness space. And really what ends up happening is we, the audience, we, the people who are searching for solutions, for help, end up getting caught not in real, true help. And quite honestly, the health and wellness industry has become even less about health and more about followers, funnels, and fake authority, because it's become so hard to know who to trust. Because most people are out there selling products, not truth. Most people are out there selling clicks, not transformation. And so when I find myself looking at this, it's something that just shakes me to my core, which is really why I wanted to do the podcast today. Really pulling this back is to exposing the truth. Why does the health industry not want you to actually be healthy? Why does the health industry care more about clicks and marketing than actually you as a person? And coming back to the core root of it, because at the very end of this podcast, the very end of this show, I'm going to share something very vulnerable with you. I'm going to share something that my wife and I, we host our couples collective. You heard me talk about that last week in the community page, or the community podcast I did. But this past weekend, we really wrote out our eulogies and what does this look like? And they were based on our core values, and realizing that core values are actually behaviors, because the core values that you say you live are determined by the behaviors in which you have. And so out of this, we wrote our eulogies. And this, I'm going to read mine at the very end, which is extremely vulnerable, which is extremely raw. And I think you'll see where a lot of this comes from and why my heart literally bleeds for people who are struggling with their health, wanting to find it. It's why this podcast exists, to educate, equip, and empower you to take ownership of your health so you can realize transformation. And so when we go through this today, my biggest goal was really to help you realize where we were at, because the global wellness market back in 2023 was valued at over $5.6 trillion. But with all this money and content flying around, why is it that so many people are still stuck? they're still sick, and they're still searching. This is the same health and wellness industry that crucifies the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, but yet they fail to recognize that they're doing the same thing. They're pushing supplementation like pharmaceuticals. They're pushing diets like surgeries. These things these patterns continue to show up. And the thing is, as I said before, it's become less about health and more about influence, more about followership, more about getting partnership deals, because they're not selling the truth, they're selling products. And today we're calling it what it is. We're calling it what it is. And we're going to walk through the real reasons why people are confused and how personal agendas have truly distorted the message and truth, and how you, the listener, you can own it again. You can take ownership again. You can take ownership of your health back, not just from the medical industry, not just from the pharmaceutical industry, not just from the big food industry, but from the health and wellness industry. Because the health and wellness industry has become the enemy without us even knowing it. It's been the Trojan horse, and we're going to start to shed some light on it. Because here's the thing. When we think about it, the noise is strategic. The noise is strategic. Because at the end of the day, confusion equals profit. And here's what I want you to come back to. I'm going to use, I hate using people's names and the examples, but I have to use this. Gary Brecka and Grant Cardone, they came into business together. They ultimately started to storytell in a way of things that were not completely true. Start to fearmonger. Put thoughts and points in people's brains that were just one microcosm of what could actually be happening. And they happened to sell the solution. They're not selling going on a journey with you. They were selling a solution. And then they went cheap on what the solution was. Supplements that were simply white labeled that you could have gone and bought for less with higher quality at Target. It's not custom supplementation when you have 5 products and you get 2 of the 3 products because quote unquote, that's what you need. That's not custom supplementation. And so what happens is there's become a confusion point. And when you're confused, it creates profit for you as a company because the people don't know what's what. And so now all of a sudden, using the same example of now having $100 million lawsuit, going on the Patrick Bet-David podcast, going on Joe Rogan, going on Good Morning America, doing all of these publicity stunts about this $100 million lawsuit over what was going on. And now all of a sudden coming back together and highlighting a new product, the noise is strategic. And until we realize that, can call it out for what it is and stop falling into the algorithm, we're going to continue to go down a direction that we do not intend. And so we have to come back to this purpose. Like in 2023, Americans spent over $60 billion on supplements, most of which have zero regulation or personalization in any way. Like, think about that for a second. A $60 billion industry, over 95% of it is unregulated and is unpersonalized. But yet we're signing up for it because, quite frankly, we don't know what the heck we need. So we're going to grab whatever it is that comes in front of us. Because here's the thing. Explain how experts profit more from dependence than results. Explain to me. Explain to me how experts profit more from dependence than results. And as I sit on that statement, something I wrote down, it's truly what happens, isn't it? Experts require you to depend on them by giving you information that's falsified, that's fear-mongering, that actually has nothing to do with you getting the result that you want, but actually everything about just spewing more information and knowledge and wisdom that comes from them so that you become dependent on them. You hang on their every word. You know it. You follow them on Instagram. You follow them on LinkedIn. You follow their podcast. You follow whatever. You subscribe to their stuff on YouTube. Maybe you've subscribed to their email. And all you're doing is you're taking more and more and more and more of the message to condition you to become dependent on what they're saying, when in actuality, they haven't had any interest in actually seeing the result that you're getting. It's just about getting a product into your hand. Because the more confused you are, the more you spend. I'll say that again. The more confused you are, the more you spend. And you try to spend your way out of a problem. That's not health. That's manipulation. And that's what we're starting to see more and more of. It's incestuous. You go on social media right now. I encourage you. If you're on the treadmill right now listening to this, if you're going out for a walk, if you're cleaning your house, if you're just sitting in a quiet corner, I can encourage you right now. I'd never encourage you this any other time. Open Instagram right now and start scrolling. Start scrolling. I guarantee you can't scroll for 2 or 3 polls. Look at 15 different posts And you don't find one social media influencer trying to get you to do a different workout, trying to get you to do a different diet, trying to get you to do a different pot or a different supplement. It's going to all be focused on something that they can get you to buy. Subscribe to this, step into this, do this. It's all in the name of getting you to buy something. And when we think about this, there's a performance problem. And when I'm talking about a performance problem, I'm not talking about how you're performing, how you feel. I'm talking about that people aren't real and social media is their stage. You probably saw Ashton Hall go viral. I mean, everybody's doing the Ashton Hall morning routine, the Saratoga water, dipping your face in the bowl, going and running outside, telling people that they need to do $1 million in a month, $10 million in a month. Just follow Ashton Hall and you're going to be able to do it. They're basically showing you an act that doesn't actually flow with what's actually there. They're performing, they're acting. Because at the end of the day, there's no authenticity. There's no truth. Influencers showing highlight reels, not the behind the scenes burnout. Because when we sit in this, we don't know what Ashton Hall's private life's like. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I know enough of them. I've been in enough rooms with them to realize that they're laden with insecurity. They're laden with burnout. They're laden with health issues. They're laden with marital disputes. They're single for a reason. They're disconnected from their children. They've got anxiety coming through the yin yang. They're over leveraged financially. All of these people who sit in these spaces, there's a lack of authenticity as to what it is that they're doing. There's one, I won't name his name, but he literally goes and tells you what to do on the front end and does the complete opposite behind the scenes because he can't monetize what he does behind the scenes. And so there was somebody that came up to me. I started to include some of this in my keynotes. And there was somebody that came up to me after, and they actually went up to, they came up to, edit that out. I've started to include a lot of this stuff in my keynotes. And somebody came up to me after and said, I just want to thank you for the level of authenticity and realness that's here. Because about a year ago, I'd been following Ben Greenfield for about 2 years. And I started to copy the influencers' routines. I started to copy everything that Ben was doing. And quite frankly, I ended up more broken than I was before. I found myself more fatigued. I found myself literally shaking in the middle of the days because of certain supplements I was taking. I found myself not being able to sleep at night. I found myself losing weight in a pace that I could not afford to lose any more weight. I was actually making myself ill because of all the quote unquote biohacking. Guys, we have to recognize that there are influencers and there are people out there that are simply trying to get clicks and not worried about you. They don't want to build relationship. They don't want to go on journeys. They don't want to go on this quest to actually get your health back. They just want the fame. They just want the influence, and they just want the marketing dollars. They just want the referral fees. That's what they're all about. And until we get that through our heads, until we're willing to take this stand, we're going to continue to fall into it. Because there is only the one size fits all protocols being pushed out there. If everybody's happy to tell you what to do, but nobody wants to ask you a little bit about you. Everybody's willing to say, oh, here's your personalized solution. But really, do we know it's just going through an algorithm? There's no relationship to anything anymore. There's no truth to anything anymore. There's no connection to anything anymore. Because here's the thing. They might be showing you the quote unquote blood work, but they're not showing you the 2 a.m. cortisol crashes, but you're living them. They might be showing you the morning cold plunges, but they're not showing you the afternoon anxiety attacks, but you're living them. They might show you the morning sauna session, but they don't show you the afternoon arguments, but you're living them. They show you the morning workouts, but they don't show you the afternoon autoimmune flare-ups, but you're living them. They don't show you what's actually happening. They don't show you the journey because they don't want you to recognize and realize that it's actually a journey you have to go on because it's supposed to be easy. Do what I do, buy what I buy, wear what I wear, have what I have, and you'll look the way I look. But they're not showing you what comes along with it because we take you to point 3 and there's an agenda behind the advice. Every post is a pitch unless you pause and question the motive. I want you to write that down. And I'm going to say it again. Every post is a pitch unless you pause and question the motive. I'm putting this post up for a reason. I want you to feel a certain way. Do I want you to feel inspired? Do I want you to feel motivated? Do I want you to feel less than? Do I want you to feel like you're missing out? Do I want you to feel like you need this? Do you want you to feel like I'm speaking exactly to you? And so that ultimately you think that I see you, even though I've never met you? What does that look like? Because personal brands have become businesses where their advice is tied to affiliate links, not outcomes. We see this right now. IM8. IM8 is a new supplement to challenge athletic greens, AG1, both through the kitchen sink and everything into it. Well, guess what? Andrew Huberman used to have an AG1 access code on his podcast. Now he has an IM8. You've got Gary Brecka out there pushing every product you could ever imagine. He's got products for hydrogen tabs. He loves hydrogen water. Weird. He's got hyperbaric oxygen chambers. Well, he's got one in his house, but he's also pushing the code. He's sitting there with hydrogen water bottles. He's pushing the code. Personal brands have become businesses. Affiliate links are tied to them, not outcomes. You got every registered dietitian pushing IM8 right now. They literally did this strategically. They went to everybody who had an engaged audience, gave them free IM8. It was built by David Beckham to challenge the billion-dollar company of which AG1 has become and push it to their entire audiences. Because here's the thing, guys, not only do these products not necessarily work for you, but quite frankly, it probably doesn't even work for the person that's pushing them. Because these fitness coaches, these health coaches, they're pushing products or protocols that they don't even use themselves. And even if they don't use them themselves, maybe they've tried it, but it isn't actually why it's happening. Go back to these studies that are cited all the time. And there's one study specifically that I'm referring to that took a look at 100 different obese individuals. And they put one group in a calorical deficit, the other they did not. They gave both the supplement that they were trying to show. They saw a greater weight loss in the calorical deficit group and a slight weight loss in the non-calorical deficit group. And so they surmised that taking the supplement helped you lose weight. And they highlighted the calorical deficit group. Well, was it the supplement that caused it, or was it that they were in a calorical deficit? It's actually that they were in a calorical deficit, and the supplement was negligible for each group. So when we think about this, we have to come back to this component of like, there is no authentic or ownership to what we're doing, to what we're seeing, to what we're being exposed to. And we're being brought in to this different agenda behind the advice that's there. Because authenticity and ownership are truly the antidotes, but those don't sell. Those aren't sexy. Those don't go viral. Those don't get seen by everybody. And so until you're willing to share something that's authentic and something that's built around ownership, until you're willing to share this podcast, for a perfect example, to all these people who are going down this road, you're going to continue to see more of the same. More of the same. Because the advice isn't bad because it's wrong. Hear me on this. Write this one down again. The advice isn't bad because it's wrong. It's bad because it's not rooted in you. It's not rooted to serve you. It's not rooted to help you. It's not rooted to grow you. It's rooted in them. It's what did they get out of it? They get more influence. They get more followership. They get more opportunity to create more partnership and affiliate deals so that at the end of the day, they make more money. The root of all evil is the love of money. And the moment that you're willing to actually step in and change that is different. I'm going to be completely transparent and authentic here. Is in Own It, when we go to our affiliate groups and we partner with best-in-class partners, we straight up say, we do not want any commission. We want the commission that you would give us, like every other influencer that you have, to be extended to our audience, to be extended to our consumer, to be extended to our listeners, to be extended to our clients. So if you were going to give them 10%, you were going to give us 10%, give them 20%, because I never want my integrity, my authenticity, my reason for promoting a product to because I'm getting something from it. Rather, just because it's something that is going to serve you, something that's going to help you. It is a best-in-class product that is built with integrity, and that's why I want you to have it. But nobody acts that way. Nobody behaves that way. No other influencer on social media you'll see that, because they haven't built a business. They've built a platform. And so that is what I need you to see. Every post is a pitch unless you question the motive. And when we come back to this, you have to take ownership of this piece. I told you before, I told you up above, it's not sexy, but authenticity and ownership is the antidote to your health, because real health is built. It's not bought. We tell all of our clients this when they're coming in. Just because you've now paid the entry point, that doesn't mean that you get to now get onto a chariot and take the ride to great health. No, no, no. You and I are going to go hand in hand, and we're going to walk our way there. We're going to go on a journey. You are going to go and hold hands with our team, and we are going to walk with you. That's what it means to own it. That's what it means to take ownership again. This is why I tell this story all the time. 3 years ago, I was with the Navy SEALs, and I was watching them. We were late into the night. It was January. It was cold outside. We were on, gosh, what's the name that we were at? Completely skip my mind. Pull this. About 3 years ago, I was with the Navy SEALs, and we were out on Coronado Island. It was the middle of January. It was freezing, and I was watching them go through training. They were locked arms, getting hit by the waves in the water. They were army crawling in the sand. They'd go back and forth. They were in these heavy, heavy leather boots, having to trudge through this heavy, wet sand that they were sopping wet, cold, having to drag a bunch of things back and forth through the sand. Then there was a whistle that was blown, and they had to go and they had to get into helicopters. They had to get into helicopters, jump out of the helicopters, get into the water, grab these dummies, drag them back to shore, go through this over and over and over again. And I sat with the captain after, and I said, Captain, this is rigorous. This is hard. But my question to you is, in the middle of a storm, when you're looking at a capsized boat and there's 100 people scattered in the water, and you've got your men and women in the helicopters ready to jump, who do you save first? He goes, Justin, who do you think you save first? I said, women and children, those who are struggling. He goes, no. We save those that are swimming towards the helicopter, because that gives us the greatest opportunity to serve the most people. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'll never forget it. And it has shaped who we serve. At Own It, we serve those who are swimming towards the helicopter, because I need you to take ownership. I'm going to hold your hand and go on the journey with you, but we're going to build a relationship, and we're going to walk down together. And I need you to be willing to walk with me. It's about the daily disciplines. It's about the devotion to the long-term purpose. It's about the desire to understand your data. It's willing to do the work, because I need you to understand hype versus hard truth. There's no shortcut. There's no shake. There's no shiny Instagram plan. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take an effort. It's going to take consistency. No shortcut, no shake, no shiny Instagram plan is going to give you what your body was designed to do naturally, with clarity, commitment, and the right guidance. But none of those social media Instagram influencers, none of those experts want to tell you that. They want to give you the quick piece. They want to give you the shortcut, the shiny thing, the little shake, the little hack, because that's what you're going to buy, but only because you're confused. Because here's the thing. This year, we're telling 100 stories of people who have come through Own It and found transformation. Clients who used Own It to ditch the one-size-fits-all and finally get the clarity, energy, and consistency they were looking for. And when we think about this, I'll be the first one to tell you, when people come into Own It, sometimes they're like, my God, this is harder than I thought. Yeah, because we're doing the real work here. We're building real relationships here. We're building it from a state of authenticity and truth, not from a state of playing, not from a state of acting, not from a state of advice. I'm not performing for anybody. This is the true, raw Justin. This is the raw purpose that exists here, because the industry wants you confused, but we want you equipped. The industry wants you to buy into what the crowd is saying, but we want to empower you on what your body is saying. And I want to encourage you to audit what you're consuming and who you're trusting, because their heart's not in it. I promised you I'd read you something vulnerable here, and I'm going to end with this, because as I was going through my core values, as I was going through what I truly valued, remember, I said core values are behaviors. It's how you behave. It's how you act. My core values are boldness. The behavior is standing up for what is true. That's what I do. I go against the grain. I rub people the wrong way. I'm bold in that, because I know what the truth is. You're going to hear it every single time. You're not going to find me doing some type of trend. You're going to hear me walking up the other side. There's humility. I realize that Jesus is actually the reason that I'm here, and that the calling that's on my life is based on why I've been put here. Honor, being able to speak into each person, being able to build relationship, honor the work that people are putting in, see them. Devotion. I think a lot of times people write down discipline, but your disciplines are determined by your devotion. What are you devoted to? And for me, it's committed to discipline, being grateful for the hard things that come in my life because it's not easy. And then excellence. It's an approach to how I do everything. And as I sat in this, one of our exercises was asking others to ultimately speak into what it was that one word that would describe you. If you were to describe somebody in one word, what would they say? We had 7 or 8 people speak into each one of our couples, but also into myself. And this is what my eulogy says. This is why I do what I do. This is why we are so convicted with the mission that we're on. The eulogy for Justin. From his family and friends. If you knew Justin, you knew the man who would refuse to settle. A man who demanded excellence, not just for himself, but from everyone around him. Not out of pressure, but out of love. He saw what was possible for you before you even believed it yourself. He lived with relentless commitment, courage, and ownership. Whether it was in his health, his family, his business, or his faith, he didn't do anything halfway. He built others up, not just by his words, but by how he lived, with discipline, with fire, and with unwavering purpose. But if you really knew Justin, you also knew his deep humility. He wasn't interested in the glory for himself. He cared about impact, about transformation, about helping people reclaim what they thought was lost, especially in themselves. His wife, his family, his closest friends, we all knew that no matter how much he built, no matter how many lives he changed, his greatest prize wasn't in his success. It was in his faith. His relationship with God shaped everything. He never wavered. He never backed down from a challenge. He never let fear dictate his steps because he knew the race he was running wasn't for this life, but it was for eternity. This is from God himself. Well done, my good and faithful servant. Justin, you ran the race with endurance. You carried the cross I gave you with strength and humility. You did not shrink back when trials came. You did not let the enemy steal your fire, your mission, or your faith. I saw your struggles, your battles, the nights you wrestled with doubt, pain, and exhaustion. But I also saw you rise every single time, not because you were perfect, but because you never stopped trusting me. You were a warrior in my kingdom. You fought for the hearts, health, and lives of those I placed in your path. You were true and authentic to who I was. You didn't just teach people how to be strong in body, you showed them how to be strong in spirit. You showed them how to live a life in full ownership of the God. You showed them how to live a life in full ownership with the gifts I gave them. Now your race is over. Now you stand in glory, not because of what you built, not because of the thousands of lives you changed, but because you never let go of me. Welcome home, son. Your impact echoes in eternity. That's why I do what I do. That's why Own It exists. I don't care about clicks. I don't care about likes. I don't care about the funnel. I don't care about the followers. I don't care about the fake authority. I go the other direction because it's about relationship. It's about transformation. It's about understanding you. It's about understanding who you are, who you were created to be, what you're needing, what your journey is all about. Because Own It doesn't sell products. We sell the truth about you, the truth about helping you find what's on the other side. We're going to go on a journey with you. We're going to walk with you. And I can guarantee you, if you're willing to commit, if you're willing to step in, if you're willing to live different, transformation won't just be for you. Transformation will find you. Transformation will be chasing you because that's what exists when you live a life that's different. That's what you find when you stop chasing the hype. That's what you find when you stop chasing the fake authority. So all I'll say is drop all you have. Drop all your preconceived notions and come follow me. Come follow us because we'll get you to the other side. Success is different. So own your different. We'll see you next week.